Next guest we bring onto the show is driver of the 26 truck of the NASCAR Truck Series, Dawson Sutton. Thanks for joining the show again, Dawson.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Last time we were talking was on the front stretch at New Smyrna before the Clyde Hart Memorial. A lot has happened since then. You run that truck last year, but this is your first full-time season, plus your late model schedule. How has it been continuing to work with crew chief Chad Kendrick and Rackley WAR Racing?
Yeah, it's been like you said, it's my first full year in the truck season, and then it's my second year running a full season of ASA Stars the National Tour. So it's been a really good overall past 2 years. I started racing 3.5 years ago, and to come this far, and then ran the full season last year in the late model, the super late model, and had a lot of success. Won a good chunk of races in the super and pro late model, and to go full time this year. And it's been a really up and down year in the truck. Started out Daytona, and it's been a good learning experience, especially to get to some of these bigger tracks. The super speedways and just the 2 mile and a half racetracks where it's so aero dependent and everything's so much so new to me compared to the late model. I'm a short track guy at the end of the day, and I love racing late models going back and having fun there. But it's been a really up and down year in the truck, and like you said, getting to earn my first full season, it's been pretty cool. And to almost finish 11th last week, it was pretty exciting.
Awesome. Thank you for touching on that. Big fan of the ASA All-Star Tour. You're currently third in the standings after 5 races. Some really talented drivers in that series. How has racing that in that series the last 2 years helped you and continues to help you develop as a driver?
Yeah, 100%. It's a super competitive series, like you said, and it's super competitive. And I feel like every driver in there is the best. The best you can really compete against, especially in the short track level and super late model level by itself. And like you said, going to all those racetracks, especially like New Smyrna for the Clyde Hart, and there's a lot more other big ones. All American 400 at the end of the year, we came really close to winning that one last year, and I think we led 260 laps or something. But we've had really good runs in that tour last year and this year as well. Had a really strong running at Newport. I think it's 2 weeks ago, and I'm looking forward to continue racing that and getting to Madison and Slinger next weekend for the next ones.
Awesome. Always love being at the short track, watching you guys. At the beginning of May, you get your best finish of the season so far, coming in ninth in Texas. How are you feeling once the checkered flag waved, getting your first top 10 of the season?
Yeah, it felt good. At the end of the day, I just want to be really competitive, and my goal is to win races and have really consistent finishes as well. But luckily, we've got a few good runs and a lot of bad luck as well. But I feel like everything's starting to click a lot better now, and I feel like I just at the end of the day, it's experience, like I said, and getting to the bigger tracks and even the short tracks. Trucks completely different than a late model. Everything's different. The racing's different. The drivers are different. It's super competitive as well, and I feel like it takes everything out of you to go do your best. And I'm lucky enough that I get to do it full time. And like you said, I'm just excited to continue the rest of the season and just have fun.
Heck yeah. Appreciate you going over that. Last weekend, you did mention Nashville. That's a home track for your team and you, both being from Tennessee. You were 18th fastest in the practice. Qualifying would be rained out, so you'd be starting 29th. How was the truck feeling going into the race?
Yeah, I was overall pretty happy with it. Our short run speed was not exactly what we wanted, but I feel like just to make laps. I think 10 laps in, I started to figure it out, and I felt really excited or really happy with it on a long run. I knew we were gonna be a little bit tight starting out, but I feel like we started the race. I didn't want to start 29th at all, but to move up through through the race the whole time, and I feel like we passed a lot of trucks, and I feel like I learned a ton, especially moving forward to the next few races. I'm looking forward to having a little bit more confidence after that run, and I feel like I'm excited to just, continue moving on to these new tracks for me. And it was a good run overall, and I feel like we did a really good job passing trucks in the race as well.
Awesome. Sounds like great experience for you too. You can learn from.
Yeah, for sure.
You start stage one 18th, stage two 10th, and finishing 11th. How were you able to keep those spots in the second stage? And how did you keep that track position in the third stage?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I feel like well, we were a little bit tight, especially in the race, and dirty air as well. Once we got, the farther back we were, the tighter we were. Got a little bit more clean air. Moving forward, like you said, top 10 at stage two, and I feel like the farther we got forward, the better the truck handled, and the better I was overall as a driver. And I feel like we did a good job, executing track position and our pit strategies. And I feel like Chad did an awesome job, and our pit crew did a great job as well. And that's the thing about the truck series. It really just takes everything has to be perfect. And it's racing in general, but pit stops and restarts are so important, especially in the truck. And luckily, everything went pretty smoothly. And hopefully continue having that good luck. And I'm looking forward to Michigan.
Yeah, some good momentum going into Michigan. This will be your first time racing there in the trucks. Seems like they're really hauling the mail at that 2 mile oval. What do you think the track will be like, and what do you expect the racing to be like?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be different. It's very very racy, especially watching the race from 2020 there that they like. I think that was the last time trucks went, but it's gonna be really racy. It's gonna be a lot of pushing and it's gonna be a lot of air as well. Just because you can move around so much and the track is so wide, so it's definitely gonna put on a good show for the fans. I'm looking forward to it. Just because it's big, and like you said, it's really fast. It's probably the fastest place we go to. Talladega and Daytona as well, but it's definitely really fast and it puts on a good show. And I'm looking forward to just hopefully going out and having a strong run. I think we're gonna be really good, and I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah. Can't wait to watch you on Saturday, being on Fox as well. So,
Yeah,
thank you so much for the time, Dawson, again. And hopefully, we'll talk to you before the end of the season. Best of luck this weekend at Michigan, man.
thanks, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Have a good one.
You too.